From the pup tent on Brokeback Mountain, it's the IGN Digigods. And now, two men who wish they knew how to quit each other, Wade Major and Mark Kaiser.
Wow, that's like a 7-year-old reference already. Can you believe that? Corey, to whom do we owe?
That was brought to you by Chevelle Dixon, thanks to him or her.
See, that's funny because as it happens, Chevelle also provided our listener audio email thing that we're going to name at some point in this show.
Our listener audio email thing.
Yeah, we're gonna hear that and we're gonna name it.
We are gonna
later
name
on
it.
in this show. We'll also have some viewer mail. What's wrong with me? Listener mail.
That's what I said last week.
I know.
I said viewer mail.
Yeah.
Someday.
Yeah.
When we're on television.
That's
which will never happen.
Well, we've had a lot of inquiries, actually, about recommending Whitney Houston movies. And I'm still kind of blown away by the tragedy of that. Although I have to say that largely as a result of that, it wound up being an unexpectedly great Grammy broadcast.
I always have to work the Grammys.
Yeah.
I work at a major cable network.
Yes.
So I never get to actually see the Grammys, although I am working for them, not at them, but I am. Yeah, I'm in a related industry.
You're in the mix.
I'm in the mix, so I never actually see the show. But it's funny because, like, Whitney Houston...
It was a good show. It really was.
Whitney Houston, it's not like she wouldn't be on anybody's death pool.
Yeah.
Because she was troubled with drugs and whatnot, thanks to that idiot husband of hers, ex-husband. Yeah. But yet, when she died, it wound up being a huge shock.
It was. It was gigantic. I couldn't believe it. Nobody could. I think we all kind of... I think there are people that we categorize. Anytime you hear about someone in the music industry or even the film industry who's troubled, there are those who you feel they're just going to go off the cliff, and there's no stopping them. Like if I heard that Lindsay Lohan, OD'd tomorrow, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. But then there are others where you somehow always hold out hope. You feel like they're going to turn it around. They can turn it around, and I think Whitney Houston was one of those where everybody just felt like she can turn it around. At some point, she'll turn it around. And she didn't.
No, she didn't.
She just didn't.
Because ultimately she was an addict.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks that way.
It's just so horrible.
It's tragic.
So horrible.
But look, I mean, she becomes a surprising one, but she becomes just another in a long line of performers who were addicts.
And it is, as I have said to many people, it's becoming the longest running bad joke of the last century that this happens to celebrities and actors and
artists.
Recording artists. It's just unbelievable. But anyway,
I don't know that you get a lot of like bankers.
No.
Like in the 80s, you got a lot of these guys. I mean, cocaine was the big drug in the 80s.
Yeah.
But nowadays, it just seems like something about the artistic impulse, B, the perils of being famous, drive people to these excesses.
Yeah. Well, people have asked, recommend some Whitney Houston movies, and the funny thing is she didn't really make any movies. I mean, I remember when she briefly showed up on Give Me a Break because I was a huge fan of Give Me a Break back in the 80s. I really was. I remember when I was an usher at the Man's National Theater and Kari Michelson came in. I think I just about collapsed. That was just that made my life at that point.
I don't know you.
I know, but then of course '92 she made The Bodyguard, which was an unexpected smash. I don't think anybody really anticipated that. It was kind of schmaltzy and sort of predictable.
Really, at the end where he lifts her up and carries her,
the
you've
whole
got to
thing.
be kidding.
But it
did spawn her most famous song,
which was written and previously performed by Dolly Parton.
That is
and,
true.
She nailed it, and Dolly Parton always gave her all the credit in the world. But Lawrence Kasdan wrote that. And Mick Jackson directed it, and it's hardly the best film that either of them has done. But,
no.
I mean...
But I'll say this, as gifted as Whitney Houston was, I don't know that her gift was necessarily utilized to present the best material.
No.
I think a lot of her songs were... And this is above and beyond her voice.
Yeah.
Because her voice was magnificent. But, she was a pop singer, and she wound up getting a lot of pop songs. And some of the pop songs were terrific, but... I think on balance, I don't know that she, had the type of musical output, quality-wise, like a Diana Ross would have.
Yeah.
Diana Ross is royalty. Whitney Houston, an amazing voice, very gifted, but I wish that sometimes there was a bigger legacy of great songs, not just great pop songs or chart-topping pop songs, but great classic Diana Ross level, Aretha Franklin level songs. And
I agree
with her, which is a shame because again, she had such an amazing voice.
Well, Waiting to Exhale was, her second big film, and I really like Waiting to Exhale. People don't necessarily think of it, but it was directed by Forrest Whitaker.
That is true.
And I think it's a terrific film. I really do. I think there's a lot of great stuff in that, and she's very good at it. In 96, she made The Preacher's Wife, which, of course, was a remake of the old Bing Crosby film,
and
the Bishop's Wife.
And the reason why I was curious is because it was Denzel Washington, who's like my favorite of all time.
Yeah.
It was his kind of one of the only, if not the only, sort of lighter, comedic-y...
Where he's not killing people?
He's not killing people. And that's why I'm like, if Denzel can nail this, he can do anything.
Yeah.
But, of course, he's Denzel, so he was fine.
And then, of course, she made the TV movie Cinderella, and she was a fairy godmother, and that was just an absolutely horrible, horrible film. Really a misfire. And then, we're still waiting to see what Sparkle looks like. She's in the remake of Sparkle.
Yeah, it's curious to see.
And that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I've heard they're moving that up.
Yeah,
the release.
Obviously, that would make sense.
The problem is that, unfortunately, in her later years, or at least in the 2000s, the thing that she was known most for was being Bobby Brown, which was the reality show.
Which is sad.
Which is very sad.
It's a horrible way to go. Well, with that, on that light note...
wait, hang on a second, though. Now, are we being asked to recommend one...
I'd say Waiting to Exhale, frankly. The Bodyguard is so obvious. I'd recommend instead The Bodyguard from Beijing, starring Jet Li, which is the Hong Kong quasi-remake. That's a much better film, but that doesn't have Whitney Houston in it. So I'm going to go with Waiting to Exhale.
I don't know what to... There's so little to choose from. It's The Bodyguard, Waiting to Exhale, Preacher's Wife. That's all I got to choose from.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll say The Bodyguard.
Okay.
Because it's Lawrence Kasdan.
Yeah.
And it's got the song.
There you go.
And that song will always love you.
So, we've got a few things just to get out of the way real quick at the top here because
we do nothing real quick here, Wade. Have you not noticed that?
It is not only Black History Month, but it is also Valentine's this week. And we have, freaking the vow, 40 million dollars.
I don't have a Valentine's this year, Wade, so can we please just get this over with?
Yeah, we'll get this over with. Well, I'm going to start off with Storybook Treasures has the Valentine's collection featuring 1 zillion Valentines. This is one of those usual Storybook Treasures releases. That has a lot of cool little animated tidbits on it, and this is cool. 1 zillion Valentines is really, really, really actually very sweet and very funny. Very nicely animated. I also quite liked Goggles, which has a terrific narration by Jeffrey Holder. Does that guy's voice ever get just any cooler?
I feel very good about his voice.
It's just cool.
I feel very good about
it's
7
really
Up.
Cool. Also
7
on here,
Up. He did the 7 Up.
I know. It's that great Caribbean voice. Letter to Amy is also on here. If you're familiar with that, it's really, really sweet. Wilfred Gordon MacDonald Partridge. Say that 50 times fast. This is really terrific artwork. Really, really beautiful. All of these are just great kids things. They teach your kids great lessons. There's no farting and none of that juvenile crap in here. This is all good storybook stuff. And then lastly, Will I Have a Friend? Ooh, isn't that sad? So this is really terrific. It's great for kids, great for adults too. Beautifully, beautifully animated. Really nice stuff. That's the Valentine's collection from Scholastic Storybook Treasures, featuring 1 zillion Valentines. And I give that a big, gigantic thumbs up. And then because we were talking about animated stuff, and I want to get this out of the way, we got a couple other animated releases here. One from collaboration between Manga and Anchor Bay. This is kind of a, not classic anime, but it's like nouveau anime, and it is called Red Line, and it's pretty intense. Not at all anything to do with Valentine's, but it's kind of the new direction that anime is taking, sort of in the Aeon Flux era. And Aeon Flux isn't anime, it's like quasi-anime, but this is definitely worth checking out. It's sort of like anime Mad Max, to be honest, and...
it's about a race.
It's about a race. It's like cool. Cross between Mad Max and Speed Racer. It's like, next generation Speed Racer. And then we got this Russian thing called First Squad, The Moment of Truth, which is kind of like Russian anime, which is pretty cool. Russia has its own, history of great animation. And this is,
This takes place during World War II, the early days of World War II, which I thought was kind of an interesting...
yeah, it is. It's cool. It's like cyberpunk Russian anime, and it's a lot of Japanese artists were involved in this, but it's like a Japanese-Russian co-production, and it's definitely pretty cool. A lot of great artwork and quite visionary. Speaking of visionary Russians, and both of these are on Blu-ray, by the way, Redline and First Squad. They look fantastic, and a lot of anime, older anime, doesn't look so good on Blu-ray. It's too sharp. It wasn't designed to sort of have the flaws exposed quite that exponentially. But these are really pretty sharp, pretty damn sharp.
I like them. I like Redline better.
And speaking of Russians, that friggin' Timur Bekmambetov, I'm going to kill him. Seriously.
I don't know why you don't like that Abraham Lincoln vampire kill. It's funny.
God,
I didn't see the trailer, but the idea is funny. I mean,
Go
come
watch
on.
the trailer.
It knows it's ridiculous.
It's friggin'. Who's going to pay money? Who's going to go, hey, I got $12 to blow? I don't know.
A bunch of 15-years-olds. Well, what's it rated? Is it rated? It can't be rated R.
Yeah, it's
is it?
rated NC-17.
That'd be awesome.
No. I'll come up with something. Okay, Black History Month. A few things real quickly. David E. Talbot presents What My Husband Doesn't Know, starring Clifton Davis, Ann Nesby, Michelle Williams, and Brian White. And that would not be the Michelle Williams that you're thinking of. This is a different Michelle Williams, not the one who's nominated for an Oscar. This is the Michelle Williams from Destiny's Child. And you know what? This is the kind of stuff that just we hate seeing released on Black History Month, because all it is just it's like a schmaltzy kind of melodramatic romance with a little bit of sizzle, and it just happens to have black actors, and that doesn't do anybody any good except kind of continue to marginalize black actors and give them this it's like, oh, you can't be in films that have white people, so we're just going to make these second-rate things for you. Now, this is based on a play, and I assume the play was pretty decent, but it just feels like a second-tier film, and I think that's really unfortunate. Anyway, David Talbot wrote and directed it. It's not bad. It just feels like, couldn't we give these people, like, better work? Anyway.
Hello, Wade.
Yeah.
PBS documentary called The Underground Railroad, the William Still Story.
Yeah.
And the Underground Railroad is sort of it's never really gotten its due.
Well, it was never really underground. It was never a railroad. It's all symbolic.
Well, that is true. But the thing is that just as a concept, the idea that, black slaves would try to escape to Canada or to the north, and there was a network of safe houses and whatnot that they could escape to get themselves to the north or to Canada. It's just fascinating.
And Harriet Tubman.
It's just funny how you realize that there have not been a lot of great movies made about the Underground Railroad. No really great documentaries about the Underground Railroad. Mm-mm. This one is the William Still story. William Still was he was an African American abolitionist. He was in the Underground Railroad, blacks who helped other blacks escape to the various safe houses were called conductors. And so William Still was one of the major conductors.
That's great.
Of the Underground Railroad. And this is the story of his life. It's from PBS. It's really well done. Still had an amazing life. He lived to a ripe old age and into his 80s, I believe. And this is a terrific... This is not a Ken Burns thing. This is directed by somebody else. But still, it's quite well done, and you should totally check it out. Underground Railroad, totally fascinating, totally not misunderstood, but under-understood time in our history.
And, of course, here's another one of these things that I would normally rip on, but this is a little bit more well-intentioned. It's called Mama, I Want to Sing, starring Ciara, along with Lynn Whitfield and Patti LaBelle, who Patti LaBelle just gets more and more lovably obnoxious with age. This is really just a kind of a standard Hollywood backstage, Star is Born type romance, melodrama, whatever. But Ciara is very, very charming, and it's got a good cast, and the whole idea of a young gospel singer working her way up. We've seen this kind of thing before a million times, but this one is, it's amiable. I still have some of the same reservations, but it's amiable, so probably worth checking out. Not really a Black History Month title. And then lastly, I got to tell you, Lynn Whitfield shows up in a lot of stuff, and here she is again in All Things Fall Apart, which is out on DVD and Blu-ray, along with Ray Liotta, who I keep seeing at the market for some reason, Mario Van Peebles, who doesn't age, and 50 Cent. 50 Cent.
Terrible. Dreadful. It really is. 50 Cent will not rest until he has starred in every third direct-to-DVD movie ever.
But he's not a bad actor.
No, I
He's
think
better.
he's a bad actor.
He's better than I expected.
Then you didn't expect much, but look, I mean, at least here he's playing he plays like this college football player who's ready for the NFL, and he's of course a lousy student, and he's a womanizer. So there's like two sides to his personality. He's got to straighten it out if he's gonna make it into the NFL before his life's destroyed. And I just think he's a terrible actor.
But remember, Mario Van Peebles directed this as well, and Mario has directed a lot of stuff straight to video. Some of it, feature level stuff. Posse, was one of his more legit films. Mario's got some chops. He's done some decent films. He knows how to make movies. His dad was a pioneering filmmaker, so Anyway, 50 Cent basically co-wrote this and
come on,
came up with the story too.
Whatever.
Just saying, it's on Blu-ray and on DVD.
By the way, speaking
of football,
what happened?
Undefeated.
Oh, did you see it?
Oh my gosh!
How great is that movie?
Unbelievable!
It's a great that's like, to me, that movie is. This is a documentary about a high school football team
nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah,
this year,
North Memphis, and when we had gotten the screener for that during our LAFCA,
you just kind of ignored it.
I ignored it. I thought, who cares? But I was asked to review it by the magazine Wade and I write for. And I watched it, and literally, it is probably 80% as good as Hoop Dreams.
It's amazing.
It's just
really
a great
amazing.
movie. I could not believe it. So it's coming out soon in your area. By the way, can I just say, now Wade, you don't know this.
Don't know what?
Spanish. You don't know. Now I was having dinner with a friend of mine the other night. Oh, by the way, here's where we went for dinner. Before I tell you what I need to tell you, because Black History Month reminded me of this. I went to this restaurant in Westwood, California. Now, Westwood is the town where UCLA is. It's a big college town, and I used to go there a lot when I was a kid, although I didn't go to UCLA. And they have a new restaurant there called 800 Degrees. Wait, the restaurant is called 800 Degrees. It is a pizza joint.
Okay.
Here is what they do. You stand in line, and you tell them what type of topping you want on your pizza, what kind of cheese, what kind of protein, right? What kind of doodads and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And then they take a big roll of dough.
Yes.
Of raw dough.
Yes.
They rolling pin it out.
Yeah.
They put the toppings of your choice on it, the cheese you want, the protein you want, whatever else you want on it. Then they take this concoction and they put it in an 800-degree oven. So the pizza cooks in less than 3 minutes. And that is why it is called 800 degrees.
That's pretty cool.
Because they build you your pizza, and then they just heat the crap out of it at 800 degrees for 3 minutes, and it comes out as a pizza.
That's the way it works with pizza. I've been finding that out. I've been making more pizza lately.
Not at 800 degrees.
No, at more like 500 degrees.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And by the way, can I tell you what it's like? And the UCLA kids love this place.
Yeah.
Because it's relatively cheap. It's high concept. It looks gourmet, but ultimately it's at collegiate prices. And can I tell you what happens when you eat a pizza that was made in 800-degree oven?
Yes.
Can I tell you what happens?
What happens?
You have a lousy pizza.
Really?
Yes. You know why?
Why?
Because it's 800 degrees for 3 minutes,
Yeah.
which means the crust is just soggy. Because the crust never gets
Crisp.
Then
they're using a bad pizza stone. That's all it is. It's a bad
You know,
stone.
pizza stone. Anyway, so the point is that I went to the restaurant with a friend of mine,
Mm-hmm.
and I was deciding where I should take my late spring vacation. Usually I'd go to New York, see the family. And then you know what she says? Jazz Fest, New Orleans.
And you're going to New Orleans.
You know what I thought?
Hmm.
I'm going to Jazz Fest.
There you go.
Never been to New Orleans. Never been to Jazz Fest. I said, a light went on. I'm like, I don't know why, but I'm going to Jazz Fest.
Why not?
So I went. So here's what I did. I went online.
Yeah.
The night that we talked, and I went home to check flights.
Mm-hmm.
That was the day that Bruce Springsteen confirmed to play Jazz Fest.
No kidding.
The Beach Boys
No
are reuniting. They reunited on the Grammys.
None of them are jazz musicians, by the
I
way.
know. They're reuniting the Beach Boys to
Okay.
play Jazz Fest.
All right.
Tom Petty playing Jazz Fest.
Okay.
Bunch of great. And obviously, there's dozens and
50
dozens
Cent.
of
50
you
Cent.
mentioned. Yes, exactly. He's going to reprise his role in that stupid football movie.
Wow.
Point being is that I'm going to Jazz Fest. I'm very excited.
Well, good.
I've never been to New Orleans.
Looking forward to your reportage.
You know what? And all you do when you read about Jazz Fest, all you read about, even more than the music, is the food.
I'm sure.
All that New Orleans food, crocodile stew and whatnot. Oh, I can't wait.
So, Johnny Depp had something of a sensation when he played Hunter S. Thompson in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, the Terry Gilliam-directed film that I hate with a passion. I don't have anything against Hunter S. Thompson, per se. I actually love Bill Murray's performance in Where the Buffalo Roam. But, Johnny Depp almost did him. It was like Johnny Depp was playing Groucho Marx playing Hunter S. Thompson, and it just didn't work for me. But he decided to basically reprise that in The Rum Diary, which is an adaptation of a Thompson novel. So he doesn't play Thompson, but he plays the character that Thompson wrote called Paul Kemp, who basically is Thompson. So he's sort of doing the same thing all over again. And gosh, this is a horrible film. It's out on Blu-ray and on DVD. They sent us the Blu-ray, which has next to nothing by way of special features. Even though it's BD Live enabled, it's just got some featurettes on it, and that's it. Just the EPK stuff, because they figured, why even bother? And it's not, even though it's from Sony, who normally does just crazy good transfers, it's not the best-looking Blu-ray you've ever seen. Part of that's because it's not a terribly well-shot film, which is sad. Directed by Bruce Robinson, written by Bruce Robinson, Oscar winner Bruce Robinson, who wrote The Killing Fields, Bruce Robinson.
Here's to you, Bruce Robinson.
I don't know. I just don't know what happened there. But anyway, a lot of people are wasted in this film, including Aaron Eckhart and Giovanni Ribisi. It's just sad. So, anyway, except in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, this is like Fear and Loathing in Puerto Rico. That's pretty much it. I don't know why he made this. It's like he had all this goodwill from Pirates of the Caribbean, and he was a big star again, and then this thing came out and just tanked, and it just took all of his renewed stardom with it.
Well. Here's the thing, though. The movie came and went so fast, and did so little business that I don't think people will hold this film against him.
I don't know,
but he's such a fan of Hunter S. Thompson that I'm sure that this was a personal project for him. I think the problem he had was the director he chose. He chose the director for a certain reason that I guess on paper I understand, but in the end, I don't know if he was really the guy to do it.
Yeah,
at least when he did Fear and Loathing, he hooked up with Terry Gilliam.
It's just, Bruce Robinson is a terrific writer, but he's done a lot of, he's intermittently done crap, and the fact that he did something like With Nail and I probably made people think, well, he could do The Rum Diary, because it's sort of a similar kind of a thing. It's a little irreverent, it's not in the Killing Fields vein, which is what I think he does the best, but who knows? Anyway. Moving on to one of the biggest. It's probably the biggest Blu-ray of the week, is it? Sort of? My gosh, this thing is selling gazillion copies by the bunches.
This is the Twilight Saga: Breaking Dawn Part 1. This is the slow and plodding and endless and sexless and bloodless and uninteresting to me first part of the last part.
Like the Harry Potter, like the Harry Potter thing. They're doing the Harry Potter thing. They're dragging it out.
Well, you know what? It's funny because everybody made fun of the Harry Potter for doing that, but I think in the end people actually were okay with it because narratively, neither episode, the last part 1, the last part 2, neither felt bloated. Nobody felt like it was a money grab. This, to me, the Breaking Dawn splitting that up, that's a money grab. And the funny thing is that Summit doesn't exist anymore. They just got sold.
Yeah.
Summit is now
they're now Lionsgate.
Lionsgate.
Yeah.
So in the end, the money grab, what did it do?
Speaking of their next big franchise, are the Hunger Games. That's
true.
The next big franchise, allegedly. And have you seen the trailer and the commercial?
I have not.
I've been catching hell from all of my close friends and relatives who just love the Hunger Games. They're so looking forward to the movie. I have not read the book or the books, but I'm looking at the trailer and I'm looking at the commercial and I'm thinking that looks like crap. Like Stanley Tucci's got like a Victorian wig dyed blue. I don't get it. But apparently there's some retro.
People love it. You know what?
I
went out with this girl. She's 35 years old. Okay, she's old enough to know what a real book is. She loves the Hunger Games. Loves the Hunger Games. Loves it.
Everybody I know. You know what else is out this week on Blu-ray?
By the way, can we just say something?
What?
The Twilight Breaking Dawn Blu-ray looks great.
Yes.
There you go. It was great.
The Ides of March is a really unfortunate film. George Clooney is a terrific director. I'm going to say that straight up. I think George Clooney is a terrific director. And when he does stuff with Grant Heslov, his partner, the movies tend to be really good, even if they I don't know, have hitches in them. You know what I mean? They've done stuff together where you go, good effort, doesn't quite work, but at least I admire the effort.
Well, you're probably thinking of The Man Who Stared at Goats, right?
That among other things. I'm even thinking of the Leathernecks or Leatherheads and all that stuff. So Ides of March, you're thinking, George Clooney, he's a big political guy. His dad was a journalist. He's really into politics, and he'll really knock this out of the park. And winds up being basically a totally predictable and conventional political thriller. I mean, it is exactly what you would expect it to be. There's no surprise in it.
It's almost like a new generation doesn't realize that Robert Redford starred in The Candidate.
Right, exactly.
And they need their own little The Candidate. But the thing is that, it's just, back when The Candidate was released, I don't know when that was, 72 or something like that.
Yeah.
It was such a different world that you could really capture people's imaginations.
But that had more of a comedic edge to it. That had a little bit more MASH. There was a dash of MASH in it.
Which I think that the kids of that time would respond to.
Yeah.
But again, but movies were so much part of the cultural conversation that something like The Candidate could really get a lot of attention.
Yeah.
And people could really start talking about it. Nowadays, the Ides of March comes, and yes, it's George Clooney, but it's a different world. It's 157 channels, and you're tweeting and Facebooking. And a movie like this, which maybe could have started a dialogue, never did.
Yeah, it's too bad. Well, it's because what's really going on in politics dwarfs what this movie thinks is sensational. Anyway, Clooney plays the candidate, the guy who's going to, try to be the next president. And, of course, Ryan Gosling is the idealistic aide whose idealism winds up getting challenged by the ugly realities of politics, as if he didn't know what he was getting into. And it's really not that. It's not like Clooney's the Manchurian candidate or anything. I mean, it really just comes down to something.
It comes down to sex and power.
That's
it. But you know what? Look, yes, it comes down to sex and power. But in the end, what is what are the things about politics that get filmmakers going? The power.
Yeah.
And the corruption that power.
Here's why, despite all that, I'm going to recommend this Blu-ray, because it's got a commentary with Clooney and Heslov that is outstanding. I can listen to George Clooney talk about anything for hours and hours. I mean, he is bright, he is smart, he is insightful, and it's terrific. Better than the movie, actually. And then you got a couple of exclusives on the Blu-ray called Developing the Campaign, The Origins of the Ides of March, which is so-so, and a featurette called What Does a Political Consultant Do, which is quite good. So, and you know what? Marissa Tomei's in it, and I just can't, in this all-star cast, I could write off anybody, including Paul Giamatti and Philip Seymour Hoffman, but I can't write off Marissa Tomei. Can't do it.
Because you like her.
I love her.
I just think the movie, it's true. When I think about the movie, what it's missing is it's missing that, weightiness, that sense of gravity, that wow, you're seeing like
I agree.
A take on politics that is totally singular. Another take that's not so singular is The Rebound. The Rebound is from 2009. It is getting crapped out by the good people at Fox, and it stars Catherine Zeta-Jones and Justin Bartha. Now, Justin Bartha, from the Hangover films. Catherine Zeta-Jones, because she's having sex with her own father. And when I say that, I mean a man old enough to be her father, Michael Douglas. Now, the movie was directed by Bart Freundlich, whatever. How you pronounce that guy's last name? Freundlich, who is married to Julianne Moore. And this movie's terrible. And in the film, Zeta-Jones plays a single mom, and her new neighbor is a handsome young man played by Justin Bartha. And this thing was made in 2009, and it never got a theatrical that I know of. And it barely got a DVD. I mean, they certainly crapped out a okay-looking Blu-ray. The film was certainly not excitingly shot. So it's not great. It's Valentine's Day. If you've seen every Valentine's film out there, sure, go with The Rebound, but you'll hate yourself in the morning.
When we reviewed The Human Centipede, we were very upfront about the fact that we hadn't seen it, and nor were we going to see it. There are just some places that we draw the line. And The Human Centipede 2, full sequence, I think we draw the line there as well.
Yeah, I didn't see that. Not interested. Life's too short.
Not the least bit interested. Refuse to see it. But, the plot, they sent us the Blu-ray, and I couldn't bring myself to even think of it. The whole thing here is that some idiot is inspired by the original film to go and do something exactly the same, just as gruesome. There's a great idea. So he wants to do a 12-person Human Centipede this time. And honestly, it just, give me a break. The cover of this thing says 100% medically inaccurate. Like the previous film was 100% medically accurate. This one is 100% medically inaccurate. So, what is that cute? Is that like
well, because it's going to get kids thinking, oh my God, they're no longer constrained by by medical realities. They can do it. They can make it as disgusting as they want.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Tom Six. Bravo. Nice work. Try. What is Tom Six just going to make Human Centipede movies now forever? Is that their deal?
Fine. You know what? Look. At least if he does that, we know where he is.
Yeah.
He's not hurting children or the elderly.
Boo.
I agree. You know what? Life's too short for that crap. I just don't get it.
You know what I actually really like? Tiny Furniture.
I like it too.
Lena Dunham won the our LA Film Critics New Generation Award.
That's right.
For
and of course,
Tiny
since
Furniture
that, she's
last
done
year.
nothing.
You know what? Give her a chance. She will. She's incredibly talented, really sweet, and here's what I love about this film. She shot this film on a Canon 7D, exactly like the one that I have. So I'm thinking, what's my excuse? Anyway, it is. This was made last year. It is now out, believe it or not, from Criterion. And bravo, Criterion.
Yes.
I mean, this is a terrific pickup for Criterion. I love it when they kind of go off the grid a little bit and grab these cool little indies and say, you know what, this deserves the Criterion stamp of approval.
Like Armageddon?
Never mind.
Or The Rock?
Never mind.
Do you remember when Criterion did?
I know.
They had that brief money grab moment.
that was their Disney deal.
Yeah.
That's because Michael Bay wanted to sort of anoint himself some kind of an action film auteur, and then he realized he didn't really need that.
You realize that the
Can you
studio
imagine Transformers on Criterion?
You realize that the studio greenlit Transformers 4 today.
I know.
With Michael Bay scheduled to direct. It's fantastic.
I know.
It's great. I can't wait.
Yeah, totally. Seriously, Abraham Lincoln Vampire.
Awesome.
Hunter, are you kidding
come on,
me?
it's awesome.
Oh my
How dare you? It's funny.
Bloody hell.
Anyway, Tiny Furniture is great. It's a very. You know what? She's by the way. She works with almost her entire family. The actors in the film are all like her family.
Yeah.
I think the woman who plays her mother is her mother.
Yeah, I know. It's great.
And it's great stuff, but it's very, it's very funny. It's very affecting. It's got a very interesting, delicate tone.
It has a sort of like if Woody Allen were a woman. Is sort of how a lot of people have analyzed it, and I think that's legitimate. There's a couple of great things on here. There is an interview that she does with Nora Ephron, which is in a strange way very appropriate. And then there's an interview with Paul Schrader, which is completely weird and unexpected. And then there's this thing here called Creative Nonfiction, which was actually Dunham's first film, which I had never heard of and never seen, and it's pretty good. And then 4 short films that she had done that originally aired on YouTube, which is kind of where she plied her trade, which is, she's kind of like the first YouTube generation filmmaker, which is fascinating to me. So bravo, Lena Dunham. Looking forward to your next film, and I'm so thrilled that you received the Criterion stamp of approval. And I want to say this. The 7D transferred to Blu-ray, looking awfully damn good.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to go play with that camera some more.
You should.
I'm loving that camera.
There was actually an interesting article in American Cinematographer magazine about how filmmakers who are embracing digital don't realize that when it comes to archiving their digital, it's going to be very difficult. Like films are archived on film.
Yes.
And films do not, at least not anymore,
No.
they don't just go up in flames
No.
like they used to.
No.
Whereas if you want to archive your film on digital, you realize that in 15 years, whatever digital format you archived your film on, it will be obsolete.
True.
They won't make any of those anymore. Whatever it is, they won't make them anymore. So filmmakers, especially independent filmmakers who don't have the money to really think about these things,
Yep.
they have to be very careful as to what format they use and how they
Very true.
archive their films. This is for future releases and future generations and
Very true.
Library of Congress, if you get so lucky, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
You can't just put your film on a hard drive and think that in 100 years they'll be able to take that hard drive and crank out some prints for you.
Because it's possible that a magnetic storm will pass through and degauss all of recorded history.
Except the Transformer films.
That's a reference, actually, to The Spirit of 76, one of my favorite all-time cult films. Thank you very much.
I thought that was a reference to Escape
No.
from L.A.,
No.
where at the end Snake Plissken makes
Nope.
all electricity go away.
Nope, it's a
Remember
reference
that?
to Spirit of 76, which Sofia Coppola did the costumes for, by the way. Okay. We're going to go from the ridiculous to the sublime. I'm going to start off with the ridiculous, and we got 4 more titles before we jump into some listener mail and all that jazz. You know what? This has to be my favorite title of any movie ever created. I don't care that it's just a stupid, ridiculous movie. The title alone is worth a rental. Nude Nuns with Big Guns. Come on, Mark, give it up. Does it get any better than that?
Yeah, so you like that, but you don't like Abraham Lincoln Vampire.
This lens is no, because that's not ridiculous enough. This is Nude Nuns with Big Guns. Give me a break. This sister is one bad mother. There's one tagline, and then on the other one, she's got a bad habit. Come on, I mean the taglines never end. It's great. It's brilliant. Not really. It's a really stupid film. It is exactly what it purports to be, and it's sort of, I don't know. It's like I Spit on Your Grave crossed with Death Wish crossed with the Mother Teresa story. There you go. How do you top that? This would have been a horrible film in 1968. That's
a horrible film now.
It's a horrible film now. But it's with the title like that, you gotta check it out. It's got a few funny moments, but otherwise it's a little too self-consciously silly.
Oh, Wade.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, Wade. Now here's the thing, Wade. Let me tell you a story. When I vote for my year-end awards at the LA Film Critics, the big one is Best Picture. That's the one everyone wants to know. No one cares. They care less about animation or actor or cinematographer. Best Picture is the big one. Thing is that every time I vote for Best Picture, it never wins.
I know.
And I'll tell you why it doesn't win.
I feel sorry for you.
No, you don't. I'll tell you why it doesn't win. Because I have a very strange criteria for what I name my Best Picture of the year. My Best Picture of the year, every year, is always the film that I responded to the strongest. Emotionally.
Yes.
Right? Whether it's just force of filmmaking, force of storytelling, force of whatever it is. It's a film that, when it was over, for whatever reason, my jaw dropped. Doesn't matter what the criteria is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why for instance, I was the only one to give my Best Picture vote to Children of Men.
Mm-hmm.
Blew my mind.
Yeah.
That's why I was the only one to give Best Picture to Simple Man, whose name I got wrong last week.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a Simple Man.
I know.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
He's better be a simple man. I'd be in big trouble. Is it a simple man?
No.
What is it?
A serious man.
Oh, a serious man.
I was waiting for you to catch yourself again, but you did the same mistake again.
Damn it. I gave that my Best Picture because I just thought that movie was amazing. Anyway, okay.
Oh, gosh.
This is the worst.
Yeah, it's
this
too
was
funny.
Like to be
you
old.
keep going back to Simple Man. It's a simple plan. You're mixing up a simple plan with a serious man, and you get a simple man. That's what it is.
Which, by the way, Billy Bob Thornton should have won an Oscar for that. He was nominated.
Yeah.
Anyway, this year, my Best Picture was Take Shelter, which is out this week on the Blue and the Ray. I thought this film was absolutely unbelievably good. Jeff Nichols wrote and directed this film and is
such a talent. He is so talented.
He's very, very talented, and Michael Shannon is so perfectly cast. And the reason Michael Shannon is perfectly cast is because, and we've talked about this before, is that in the film he plays this Midwestern husband and father living a decent life. His daughter is deaf, and they're hoping to afford an operation to restore her hearing. And the mother, played by Jessica Chastain,
who plays every Midwestern mother in the last year.
And she's very good at it. Michael Shannon's character starts having these visions.
Apocalyptic
visions.
And dreams.
There's a storm approaching. And
literally and figuratively.
Well, you don't know.
Feel that.
What Jeff Nichols does, which is so great, is that he keeps you on your edge. He keeps you on edge a couple of ways. One is, you don't know whether he really is seeing something apocalyptic, like something really is coming, or it's just some sort of manifestation of his anxiety. And on top of that, he doesn't just use that as his high concept, hook, and then he doesn't care about the characters. Oh, he cares about the characters. This family is a real family, and when Michael Shannon totally freaks out and starts building a bomb shelter in his backyard to protect his family from this storm that he thinks is coming. There's all sorts of ramifications to the family, and I think the film is just magnificent. The ending blew me away. It is a very modern story of modern anxiety, and it's a great psychological drama. And there is so much tension and such great filmmaking in it. I just loved Take Shelter. And it's got some terrific special features, deleted scenes, which I kind of didn't want to watch because I feel like the movie is what it is on its own. I kind of didn't want to watch the deleted scenes, but the commentary with Jeff Nichols and Mike Shannon's pretty good.
Great.
Michael Shannon is not the most talkative guy, but he's very insightful. He's a good actor. Should have been nominated this year. I don't know why he wasn't. And behind the scenes, so Take Shelter on Blu-ray, which looks very good considering it's kind of a low medium budget film.
Yeah.
Cannot recommend it highly enough. Take Shelter. Wade hated it.
I love this movie. I don't love it as much as you do, but I love it a lot. Restless was Gus Van Sant's very kind of tepid film this last year. It was at Cannes. It was at Toronto. It got decent reviews, but nobody kind of went nuts for it. Everyone kind of expects huge things from Gus Van Sant, and even when he makes a little film, it's an interesting film. Now, as a quirky youth coming-of-age oddball romance, I don't think this is as good as Submarine. I think Submarine is just amazing.
You love Submarine.
I love Submarine, but it's a little bit in the same vein. And Mia Wasikowska, whose name is not pronounced like Mia Wasikowska, but I don't speak Polish, okay, people? So I don't know how, it's like Mia Wasikowska.
Who was complaining that you're pronouncing it wrong? Everybody pronounces it Wasikowska.
Never mind. We have some colleagues who are a little bit anal about pronunciation of...
Oh, Bob Kohler?
No.
Really?
No, actually. I'll tell you after the show.
How would Bobby know who she is? But
Like
Mia Wasikowska does not star in 4-hour documentaries about Ukrainian sheep herding.
But Mia Wasikowska and this newcomer, Henry Hopper, star in this, and they're lovely. This is, one of those rare incidents of late. Something was produced by Brian Grazer and Ron Howard, and I didn't hate it. And Bryce Dallas Howard also threw herself in there as a producer. I'm not quite sure why. I think maybe she discovered the script or something. But anyway, it's a decent little film. It's not Gus Van Sant's best, but it's perfectly amiable, very nicely shot, and a real solid Blu-ray. Probably more of a rental than a buy than anything else, but you get a few extras on here. There's some deleted scenes and a bunch of featurettes, and a thing called Gus Van Sant's silent version of Restless, which is like, huh? What? Never mind. And before we get on to our listener mail stuff, I want to make mention of 5 Star Day, which is out from Breaking Glass. I had to talk about 5 Star Day on the radio, and this is such an odd film. It really is. Did you watch 5 Star Day?
I did. It's a dud.
It's on Blu-ray and on DVD. It's a pretty decent Blu-ray for a film that was next to nothing to make. But here's the thing that it's about. It's about a guy who sets out to with an existential mission to disprove astrology. And it consists of finding people who were all born at the same time and exact same place as he, one of whom is Jenna Malone. And it's to demonstrate that even though they should all have the same astrological sign, their lives are all so different that there's no possible way that they could ever even be under the same sign, right? This is how his gigantic existential proof is going to take place. And, of course, it winds up, that there are these human connections, and it winds up having a very, very poignant direction. But it's so odd. And I don't know if it's odd good or odd bad. But
it's odd bad.
It's like I'm still kind of trying to make sense of what the movie was really trying to do.
That's the problem with the movie. It doesn't really have a whole lot of depth. It's a very, it has this cute gimmick, which kind of sends you into a romantic comedy direction.
Yeah, a little bit.
But I think it tries to be something a little bit different about, I don't know what it's about. But it's not. You know what? It just can't transcend the gimmick.
I think it has philosophical aspirations that movies aren't terribly good at wrapping their arms around unless they're directed by Terrence Malick.
That is true.
And then unless you have a substantial budget.
But it does star that kid Cam. What's his name? Gigande or something.
Gigande.
Gigande.
Yeah, Cam Gigande, who's a good-looking guy. I mean, he's got a real future. I think if he gets the right parts, he's got a good look. He's got a good kind of. He could be like the guy in The Vow. What's his name?
Channing
Tatum. He's got that kind of a thing going a little bit.
I wasn't really into the Channing Tatum thing. I felt he'd just be another dumb jock idiot actor. But you know what? Yeah. He's done 2 Soderbergh films.
I know.
So I'm hoping he's learning to be an actor, but working with Soderbergh, and then there might be hope for him.
All right, Mark, the time has come. We got a bunch of submissions as to what we should call our audio mail segment.
Yes, we thought long and hard over this one, Wade. Now, don't give people the options.
Don't give people the options?
Well, maybe they'll disagree with us.
Okay. Well,
or you give them all the options, and the last one is the one that we have chosen.
Okay. All right. Well, let me go here. Nicholas Gordon sent in and thought of Cinema Chat. We like Nicholas. We didn't go with Cinema Chat. We also got one from Brian Swagel, who suggested a Voice of the Digipeople, because we are the Digipeople and you are the Digigods.
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah. Carl Gagnon said voiceover, which was cute. That's cute. That's voiceover. And Mario Mendez suggested audio tracks, sound off, or digibytes. Digibytes was interesting. Lenny Timmons came kind of closer to some of our sentiments. He suggested Sonic Sentiments, The Voice Box, Contributed Commentary, Listening to the Listeners, and We Hear You. And then Eric Altieri, longtime listener, said voicemail, audio prayers, talkies. Interesting.
All very good, by the way.
All very good.
But there is one amongst equals.
Well, let's hang on just a second. Let's just confab on this just for a second. Okay, we've confabbed enough. We are going to go with a recommendation from Tav Rainey, who suggested Voxbox.
That's it, Voxbox.
We like it, Voxbox. It's short, it's easy for us to remember and pronounce, and you know we need something that's easy to remember because
we're stupid.
We're kind of dense, and we're getting older. You know, we're starting.
You're getting older.
We're having memory lapses.
We really are, actually.
like Simple Man. Oh my goodness!
No, it's even worse than that. You had lent me a screener. You wanted me to give you the screener back because you had gotten the screener from the distributor.
Yes.
So there's a little bit of responsibility
Yes.
to you. You're lending it to me. You're trusting me with it. The distributor's trusting you with it. You've now lent it to me. I, of course, feel a responsibility to not lose it. So I throw it in my car, and I figure my car, it will stay until the next time I see Wade.
Yes.
Well, last week we were going to meet briefly to give you this DVD. So I go to my car, turn on the ignition. I drive out the garage. I'm on my way to Century City, where we're going to meet. And I realized that before I really go to Century City, I should make sure I have the DVD because I'm not sure. You know, sometimes DVDs get lost under the seats or on the carpet in the car or wherever in the trunk of the car. I just pull it out because I know it's in my car because the thing's been in my car for 3 weeks already. Well, let me tell you something. The DVD, not in my car.
Not in your car.
I turned my car over.
Senile old man.
In fact, my Lexus is now just a regular Toyota because I pulled out the seats, the carpeting. I went into a complete and utter tailspin, not only of early onset Alzheimer's, but of like guilt that I had lost it. And of course,
it was here the whole time.
The whole time it was in my condo.
Well, without further ado, old man, senile old man, here now is this week's edition of Voxbox.
Hi, Mark and Wade. This is Chevelle Dixon, and I have two questions. The first, now that Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance is fast approaching, do you think that Nicolas Cage can ever make a good movie again? Because he hasn't made a good movie. I think 6 Kick-Ass, and that was more a supporting role. Is it possible that this year could be his year? And the second question is, what movie are you most excited for? I'm most excited for The Dark Knight Rises, Amazing Spider-Man, and Prometheus. What are your thoughts? Thank you.
Those are two very good questions.
Yes, they are. Thank you, Chevelle. And by the way, for Corey's benefit, Chevelle is a man. Cool name.
Anyway, okay, we will tackle each of your questions. Number one, will 2012 be the year of a resurgent Nicolas Cage? I think I can say without fear of contradiction or hyperbole that it will not.
No, not a chance. It's
not
over.
a chance.
It's over. I mean, look.
Ghost Rider 2 is not even screening for critics.
No.
That's how bad it is.
Nick makes crap these days, and he takes the paychecks, and
he needs the paycheck. He's in huge tax trouble.
I know he's in real financial mess. The problem with Nick Cage is that he just cashed in at a certain point, and now he's not taken seriously anymore by anybody. He's not on anyone's A list for major roles. He's on kind of the B list for stuff like The Sorcerer's Apprentice and crap like that. And he just. He's not, was it The Wicker Man? He was in that too.
Well, The Wicker Man, that was the one that really cemented his reputation. The last film Cage did that I genuinely
was Kick-Ass.
No. Yes. Well,
but like
true.
Chevelle said, that was a supporting part.
That's true.
Yeah.
But the last film he top-lined that I truly enjoyed was The Weatherman.
Yeah.
Which was directed by Gore Verbinski, and I like Gore Verbinski a lot.
I agree.
I pretty much
agree.
almost like, although ironically I'm not a fan of the
That
Pirates
was the
films.
last real part. Look, he can always.
I like that film.
This won't be his comeback year. I think eventually he'll get a comeback year when the right part just happens his way, kind of like how Tarantino gave John Travolta, a second surge at reinventing himself with Pulp Fiction. He could get something like that, but it'll be a while.
That's right. He either needs to do a cult thing that makes him cool again, or he needs to embrace his age.
Yeah, I agree.
And play the dad in the drama.
As for the films that we're looking forward to the most, I gotta say Prometheus is up there for me. Dark Knight Rises is up there, but those are the obvious ones. Everybody, is going to name those. There are some potentially interesting foreign films. I don't know if they're going to get released.
Foreign schmorin.
Yeah. But otherwise, I don't know. There doesn't, I'm as curious about the Avengers as anybody else, but I can't say that I'm really excited about it. I don't know. There's nothing really this year that there aren't any sort of unexpected little films that I'm really just all abuzz about.
I have to tell you, I was not on the Prometheus bandwagon until I saw that trailer.
Yeah, I agree.
Now I'm way on that bandwagon.
Yeah,
I'm on
I
that
agree.
bandwagon big time.
I am too.
I'm very much on the Dark Knight Rises bandwagon. Spider-Man bandwagon, I guess, gets to
not
be.
so much.
Avengers, not really. The Hobbit, I was not a Hobbit guy. You're hoping the James Bond film is a return to form for James Bond. That'd be nice. Coming out later in the year, I am very curious about The Great Gatsby, the Baz Luhrmann film.
Not in the least. It's going to
Really?
stink. It's going to stink.
You think?
Yeah, it's going to be awful.
Don't say that.
I just know.
Why are
it
you
will be.
so mean?
No, I mean, I'll wait and see what little.
Or how about this? Here's what. Okay, I have the movie that you are waiting the most for this year.
Tell me.
The Dictator. The Sacha Baron Cohen thing.
I am looking forward to it. It's going to be funny, but usually I have to wait until the Cannes Film Festival to see what creeps out there. I mean, Cannes usually, and we're 2 months away from Cannes now, or 3 months away. That's where suddenly everything kind of explodes onto the radar. So that's what I'm really looking forward to.
I have another film. Here's what you're looking for.
Yeah,
more.
tell me.
Taken 2.
Oh yeah, big time. Are you kidding me? I
Really?
love Taken. Yeah, Taken's great,
Taken's
but you're going to do
great.
it again?
Taken 2,
Okay.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. There you go.
Lincoln, you're not looking forward to Lincoln? Neither am I.
No, not in the least. Nor am I looking forward to Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Awesome. No,
Forgot.
here's
Stupid.
what you are looking forward to.
No, yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
World War Z. Brad Pitt. World War Z. Zombie madness. Get some.
Not so much.
Okay, this is it. This is the last movie that you are looking forward to that you don't even know yet.
Okay.
Django Unchained. Tarantino. Do it.
Maybe.
Ah,
Maybe.
Look at that.
We'll see. Real quickly, a couple of...
Why is Django? Is Django on Blu-ray?
What, the original Digigods
Yeah.
films?
Is it? With the what's his name, the handsome guy who's
Some
still
of-
handsome to this day.
Some of them are, yeah. What's it? Vanessa Redgrave squeeze.
Huh?
Franco Nero.
Yes.
Yeah. Some of them are. Some of them are. But
No, I mean
but
the original.
the original Django.
first.
No, I don't think it is.
I don't think it is.
No. And on the more conventional listener mail front, Peter Kozores, I always mispronounce his name. He says, regarding Mark's rant about how retarded the iconic time machine and spacecraft from Doctor Who is named, the TARDIS is actually an acronym for time and relative dimension in space, and one needs to hear a Brit pronounce it as the R sounds somewhat silent. Check out the Wikipedia article for more information. Peter from Toronto. And he says, by the way, Doctor Who celebrates its 50th anniversary next year. I'm 30 and I already feel old. And I emailed him back a rather silly little joke that I won't read on the air or on the show. And then also had one from Ben Thompson, who says, I recently watched Kill Bill again, loved it even more than the first time I saw it. I do think that it would work better as one longer epic with better pacing than the current volumes. I've been holding out on Blue for the whole bloody affair. But with Tarantino on to his next film, I don't know when that might happen. What are your thoughts on this elusive set? And are you even fans of the movie? Mark, I forget how we stand on this. I actually love Kill Bill Part 1, and I can't stand Kill Bill Part 2. I think the first one is a great action thing, and the second one just is larded out with all that endless dialogue, and it bores me stiff.
I would still love to see some sort of director's cut.
I would too. And
some big 5-hour extravaganza.
It's supposed to be coming, but he's been, between Inglourious Bastards and Django, he's now just completely.
He's got other things to worry about.
He's got way other things to worry about. So I think we're probably at least a year away. Who knows? I mean, we'll see. It's anybody's guess. Okay, we got a few minutes left. So let's go through some old movies, some classics. Mark, I know you're a big fan of this because you, when I pulled all this stuff out, you said to me, you go, Monsignor, is that the Christopher Reeves Monsignor?
Something like 1982. This is like this is like the Somewhere in Time era.
It was when he was sort of trying to trade off of Superman without repeating Superman and do more serious roles, and he made this movie called Monsignor, which is kind of a schmaltzy quasi-romance about a priest who used to be
seduces a nun.
Yeah, he was a soldier. He was an American soldier, and then he becomes a priest and goes to Rome, and he winds up seducing Geneviève Bujold, who's going to become a nun. And look, I love Geneviève Bujold. I absolutely adore her. I think she's wonderful. Even now that she's kind of reaching her twilight years, she's still beautiful. And Shout Factory went and dug this up and said to 20th Century Fox, why don't you let us release this, because you're obviously not doing anything with it. And you know what? Look, it's not a great transfer, but it deserves to be out there. Monsignor is a forgotten film that it really.
I have one thing to say to you.
Yes.
This movie was directed by Frank Perry.
Yes.
Now, the movie
who's a good director.
The movie that Perry directed before Monsignor.
Yes.
1 year before.
Yes.
In 1981.
Yes.
Mommy Dearest.
There you go.
That's all you need to know.
I know.
He directed Mommy Dearest.
But before Mommy Dearest, he had a decent career going. And the other thing about this is that it's got a great score from John Williams, a very unheralded John Williams score.
And Harold's a friend of mine.
Thank you. And then I don't want the show to end without putting a huge plug out there for the, we talked about Wings that finally made it to Blu-ray and DVD. Well, the year after Wings won Best Picture, All Quiet on the Western Front won Best Picture, the first sound film, the first all-sound film to win Best Picture at the Academy Awards. That is now out in a 100th Anniversary Collector's Series, the Universal 100th Collector's Series, All Quiet on the Western Front, Blu-ray, DVD, digital copy combo. Now, this 100th Anniversary Universal Collector's Series line is it's inconsistent. There's a lot of junk that they're releasing, but they're also doing a really great job with some of their classics. And this is one of those Blu-ray book deals that Warner Brothers kind of pioneered, and boy, they really did a number on this. It is absolutely gorgeous. There's an amazing bunch of extras on here on restoring classic films and Universal award winners. And I'll tell you, the Blu-ray transfer of this is just dazzling. It is really, really gorgeous. And the 40-page booklet is not fluff. There's really important stuff there. So, I would say definitely get this. This has to have a place on everybody's Blu-ray shelf for sure. All Quiet on the Western Front, the must-get film this week. And the other must-get for big movie fans, classic movie fans, is the original William Wellman, A Star Is Born.
Speaking of Wings.
Yeah, speaking of the director of Wings, William Wellman went on to do the original Star Is Born, starring Janet Gaynor and Frederick March, which actually is a film that The Artist references rather extensively. The story in The Artist is in many respects a kind of a wink and a nod to A Star Is Born. And this has been remade twice, as we know of, again with Judy Garland, then with Barbra Streisand in a wretched version in the 1970s. But the original Janet Gaynor version is terrific. It is now out on Blu-ray from Kino, and oh my gosh, what a gorgeous Blu-ray this is. What a spectacular Blu-ray this is. that absolutely dazzling cinematography, that beautiful, beautiful black and white cinematography by W. Howard Green it's just tailor made for the transfer that Kino does here, which is the same level of quality that they did for all of the Keaton stuff that they've released to Blu-ray lately. So you gotta love this. Not a lot of extras. There's a trailer and a wardrobe test and then some stills. But this was just an unbelievably great piece of cinematography in the late 30s. It just demonstrated how incredibly advanced cinematography had gotten from the days when sound came in. Just in 10 years, it really, really took a leap. And this Blu-ray finally restores that, because I think most people have never seen A Star Is Born as it's meant to be seen. So next to seeing a pristine print projected, this is the way you got to see it. So that is this fabulous Blu-ray of Star Is Born from Kino, also available on DVD, but the Blu-ray is the way to go. And with that, Mark, I think we're done.
Are we done?
Oh, we're done.
That's it?
Yeah, we're
An
done.
hour already?
An hour already. See you next week.
And very disappointing, Wade. We had no audio questions. Nobody sent us an audio question this
No,
week.
we
Guys,
gotta
get
get
with the
'em.
program. We love your audio questions. Gods@digigods.com. Record it, send it. We'll play it on the show. And we'll even answer it.